Have you ever wondered how far our mind takes fiction into our realities? Have you ever wondered how certain types of media warp our views of reality and in what ways it truly does so? In this video, we will explore what studies say and how fiction affects our actual day-to-day lives, delving deep into topics such as violent video games to dark fiction. We are entering the world of what is considered to be taboo media, as well as the correlation between attraction to fictional characters and real-life people, in which topic has become much more mainstream these last few years. In the world of fandom, and to give the definition of fandom, it is short for fan kingdom or fanatic domain, and is used as a general term within fan bases of different media. There are many arguments of fiction versus reality that are brought up often. Some people within fandom say that these depictions of fiction are no different from reality, and that the depiction should be treated as such. They believe that it can get into people's heads and warp their view of reality to the point that they can't tell the difference at all. They also say that they are dangerous to society because of the types of fiction that they enjoy. They argue that the media, such as violent video games, are the reason that children have become much more violent within these last few decades. This side also believes that dark fiction is the reason or fuel for these types of happenings that occur in real life, i.e. abuse, romanticized mental illness, incest, and etc. The other side of fandom argues that fiction only affects certain parts of reality, not 100% of it. There are some that think it has nothing to do with reality at all as well. In certain areas of fandom, there are these women within that are called fujoshis. The definition of fujoshi is the kanji of rat and girl, and it's a term that it originated in Japan for female fans that enjoy published media or fan works focusing on romantic relationships between fictional male characters. And these women are often lesbians or queer, despite consuming and enjoying works of romantic relationships between male characters. This side of fandom also argues that your fictional preferences do not affect your personal taste. They also mention that the argument that mental maturity also affects your interpretation of fiction, and that those who are more mature can better separate themselves from fiction and reality. According to studies done over the past few centuries since fiction has been created by man, fiction can be both helpful and harmful to the human psyche. When consumed and created responsibly, it can be a positive way for others to come together and enjoy certain media. It can even be used as a coping mechanism. Things like art therapy or writing are ways that people cope through fiction. There are diverse ways they use it to cope, but the consensus is that through having control of this fiction, these victims now have control of the incidents and separate themselves from reality and fiction. This sense of agency is crucial, as it empowers individuals to navigate their feelings and experiences in a safe and manageable way. By reframing traumatic events or difficult emotions into a narrative, they can explore their impact without being overwhelmed. For instances, writers may develop characters that reflect their struggles, allowing them to process their own narratives from a distance. Similarly, visual artists can convey complex emotions through their work, creating a dialogue around experiences that might otherwise remain unspoken. The side of fandom that is against dark fiction worries that those for dark fiction are or will become offenders of said dark media. They argue that it feeds into a real-life obsession and that the fictional creation itself should be criminalized. and that the creation of such media should be taken as seriously as the happening itself. However, studies argue that there is no solid evidence behind these claims. The debate surrounding dark fiction often centers the potential impact of such narratives. The debate surrounding dark fiction often centers on the potential impact of such narratives on individuals and society. Critics raise concerns that engaging with dark themes, such as violence, trauma, or morally ambiguous situations, might desensitize audiences or encourage problematic behaviors. They argue that allowing the creation and consumption of such media could inadvertently normalize certain harmful ideologies or fantasies, potentially leading to real-life criminal behavior. From this perspective, they advocate for stricter regulations or even criminalization of dark fiction in an effort to protect society from possible adverse effects. However, in the research field of psychology and media studies has largely refuted the notion that consuming dark fiction necessarily translates into violent or criminal behavior. Numerous studies suggest that there is no direct causal link between engaging with dark media and becoming an offender. Rather, it may serve as a safe outlet for exploring complex emotions and thoughts. For some, dark fiction offers a way for comfort in fear over societal issues in a controlled environment, allowing for cathartic experiences without real-world consequences. In one study, scientists found violence rates across the 20th and 21st centuries had small to moderate relations to movie violence. In another study, video game violence and youth violence rates were observed. They found that playing violent video games actually decreased youth violence. Another study in which scientists studied how dark fiction affects the minds of those that consume it, they found that dark fiction had little to nothing to do with how they perceived real-life things. After interpreting the results, they found that fiction had little to do with nothing with morality, ethics, and empathy. Both sides bring up many valid points and arguments, but at the end of the day, only one side has better facts and research on their hand. It is just up to the fan to decide where to stand and to do their own research.